This next workshop is about celebrating success and why it is so important. So many of us have been conditioned to believe that celebrating our wins, our successes is showing off, it's being flashy, and that we're supposed to downplay those things. And that has a big impact, and it limits us from making progress because we have negative connotations and associations with successes, accomplishments, wins, and celebrations. And it has a big impact. Something that we work on a lot at GMC is being able to push past that, because when you celebrate something, you acknowledge an achievement, and that becomes a positive feedback loop so that you're more inclined to do it again and again and again. Success leaves clues. Success is a habit. Now, this isn't about not being humble or being a braggart or showing off for the sake of it. This is about having the confidence to share your wins and to understand that how other people react are not necessarily anything to do with you. That's none of your business. But why it's so important for you to be able to share your wins. So this is from a workshop that we did at one of our events down in London the other year. So take a look.
So here are some of my successes. This is my house. This is my car. This is me with the kids and Joel on it was a VIP tour around Universal where they push us in front of like disabled kids and stuff. No lie, no, that's not a lie or an exaggeration. This is me and Joel in my hot tub in my back garden with some expensive champagne. Right, so there's some of my successes. Click. So hands up, did anybody think that I was a flash twat, a show off, or he doesn't deserve those? Is everyone brave enough to put their hands up? Maybe, yeah, I didn't actively choose to push in front of the disabled kids. That was the package that they were selling. Right, so no one's put their hand up. So why do we think that of ourselves? Why do we think no one wants to, hear what I've got to say? Nobody wants to see what I'm doing. I don't want to make any waves, or people think that I'm, flash, click. So as Matt rightly said, we are conditioned by it, and certainly in the UK, in England, conditioned by society, by our parents, by our friends, by our family. And these become frameworks. When we're kids, we create these. It's too much work for your brain to create new frameworks for every situation it gets involved in. So what it does is, can you do a skip for me, please? What it does is it creates these frameworks, and when we get put into a similar situation, it essentially plays snap. This is a situation that I've been in before. This is how I dealt with it, and this is what I'm going to do again. And so we are conditioned by like essentially, how TikTok knows that you're gay within like a couple of like swipes or whatever. That's what your brain does as well. Like it knows how, it teaches you how to behave in certain situations. So me asking you to celebrate your successes and you going, there's more chance of me shitting in my own hands and clapping, is, that you've been conditioned. You've not just gone, because you wouldn't all react that way, right? Like some people would say yeah, and some people would say no. So we have two options here. We can accept that line of thinking, or we can challenge it. And here's why you don't really have a choice. You're going to challenge it. All right? And this is why. Because if we don't recognize our hard work, we will start to get disillusioned with the process. I've just had a really good chat with Dan about this. And Dan was asking about, one of the principles I spoke about earlier about self-worth and knowing that you deserve success. How do you get to that point? Well, it's by challenging these old behaviors and continuing to do the work. Thank you. How long would you work for someone who never said thank you or they never said well done? Years. Just have a think about like how much would that impact you? How would it make you feel, even if you stuck it out at work, Sam? How would it make you feel about going to work? Resentment. Yeah, Dan, you're in that situation right now, aren't you? Where you resent it, you still do it because we need to live, right? But we resent it, we hate it, we don't like it. So, this this. What a nightmare. This is the same when you don't celebrate your successes. You start to feel like you're not good enough. Because if it's like having a to-do list and then never ticking off the things on the to-do list when you've done it. You feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you're not doing enough. Who's ever felt I should be doing more? I could be doing, I could be doing more. So who's done this? You get to where you want to go, you hit a target weight, you hit a PB, you get a new career, you move into the new house, and then you go, what's next? Straight away. You don't even sit and go, yeah, fucking good work. You just go, next. You worry about how people think. Who worries about how people think about you? I worry about how people think about me. I think you'd be a psychopath if you didn't. But when we're letting it affect our behaviours, that's when it's an issue. Or we worry about what they'll say about us, and we find it hard to be grateful when you don't celebrate your successes, because you get to very much the point of, what's the point? What's the point? No one ever says well done. I don't get any recognition. When you get to that point where you go, everybody can fuck off. You find it really difficult to be grateful. And if you find it difficult to be grateful, you're going to find motivation really difficult to come by. Why are you going to be motivated to do work that is not appreciated by anyone, including you? Why would you do that? You just go, it's not worth it. It's not worth my time. It's not worth my effort. When we do this, it's unfulfilling. It's exhausting. And ultimately, it's pointless because you don't get anywhere. No one will thank you for living a life that's not your own, for living an inauthentic life. No one will thank you for dumbing yourself down for the sake of others. And I mean, I think this is poignant for everybody, but certainly as gay men, amping ourselves up, lowering ourselves down to fit in. It's really important. So in order for us to get to where we want to be, we have to challenge what it means to be successful. And that's really important, because success you might think, the classic stuff of a body or an amount of money or a particular relationship. Like I certainly have. Like, look at this. That is me. I don't know how old I am there, Amber. What, just think about 10?
9, 10.
Yeah.
Flannelly shirt, remember?
Flannelly shirt, yeah. How you judge others' success is how you judge your own success. And you cannot grow into pain. You cannot grow into pain. So that very clearly gay boy couldn't grow into pain, couldn't grow into a version of himself that he wanted to be because of, how he was worried about how other people would perceive him, about, celebrating who we are. Because who we are is a success. I've had conversations with pretty much everybody in this room today, and you're all incredible people. One of my criteria for letting people into GMC is if I won't go for a beer with them, I won't let them in. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's one of my criteria. So it's really important how you think about yourself. And that's often reflected in when we look, who are you to be saying that? You shouldn't be saying. So catch yourself in these your self-talk when you see other people's success. So this is the big thing. I think this has been probably the biggest driver for me, and that photo of me there from before. I challenge you to become the man that your 5-year-old self or your 10-year-old self, like that was 10-year-old me, looks to with pride and excitement. So I want you to take yourself back to being, pick an age, 5, somewhere between 5 and 10, and think about the kind of man that you would look at and go, I'd love to be like that. Are they proud? Are they hardworking? Like, what are they doing? And think about that and gear yourself towards that, because that's what I do. That's what I do. A few people have asked me today, how do you stick things out? I stood up here with fucking leg killing me. Because I want to be the version of me that would have helped that younger version of me when I was a kid, and celebrate that. So ask yourself, would you take business advice from someone who's never run a business before? Would you take health advice from someone who's never been in shape? Not necessarily someone's out of shape, but someone who's never been in shape. would you take relationship advice from someone who's perpetually single? Because often we dumb ourselves down and we don't celebrate because of fear of taking up too much space, for fear of what other people will think of us. And those people haven't achieved fuck all. And that we take their opinions on as if they're gospel. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. And as coaches, we will never ask you to do things that we've not done ourselves. That's why I wanted to share my success. So me asking you to share your successes, and then me not doing it, and like hiding behind my successes, and going, I'm not doing it. But you share your successes. I'm not doing that. But here's what I've done, and I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of that house. I grew up on a council estate, single parent family. My dad was never around. I've pulled myself up out of the gutter by my bootstraps, and I'm really proud of that. And I'm happy to talk about it, because if someone says that I'm a show off or it's easy for you, well, they don't know, and I don't really care what other people think. Well, I do care, but I don't let it affect me. So, like I said, if I can go from hand-me-downs, like I've gone from hand-me-downs growing up as a kid, I'm sure we're all familiar, whether I've spoken about it here or otherwise, of struggling with my own sexuality and being suicidal. I've hit the lows, I've hit the shit bits, and I've talked about them. And sometimes it's easy for us to talk about those over our successes. But I'm also really proud. I'm really proud that I've built this. This is a success. My family is a success. Where I live, the holidays that I'm able to have. The life that you want is on the other side of discomfort. Dan, asking about where's that self-worth, where you go, I am worthy of that. It comes from continually stepping outside your comfort zone and pushing yourself and growing and deciding that there's more to be had. So every share of success that you do, every step into discomfort, every rep that you do that you don't want to do, every gym session that you do that you don't want to go, every time you don't snooze and you get up out your alarm, every check-in you do and you're moving in the right direction, every time you say no and you protect your boundaries, is a step towards the person that you want to be. I said earlier, the magic is in the work that you're not doing, and the life that you want is on the other side of discomfort, because through challenge is growth. John said it as a lesson about before every breakthrough, there's a breakdown. So it's really, and that's why it's important to acknowledge the shit bits that we do, but you've got to acknowledge the hard work that you've done, because you're all putting hard work in. The amount of weight that's been lost in here, the amount of improvements that's seen, the amount of lifestyle changes that's gone on, the amount of work that you guys have done is insane on an individual level and on a community level. So to be surrounded by those people, like, lean into that. So this is a nice activity. I think this is something that's really helped me. So when we worry about other people's reactions, we kid ourselves, don't we? We go, oh, I'm not going to post in the group because, or I'm not going to post on Facebook, or I'm not going to post on Instagram. And that's not the only way to celebrate your success. I'm just using that as an example. Because everybody, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody will think I'm a twat. Everybody will think he should shut up. Yeah, am I right? Yeah, that's the kind of language that we use. It's not that. It's not everybody, and we never think it's everybody. And I want us to shine a light on it, because shame only exists in the dark if we let it live with us not talking about it. It's usually one person or two people, or it depends what you're doing. So it might be, I don't want to post about all the weight loss that I've done, because my brother will tell me that I'm a twat. That's what it is when we say everybody will think I'm this, or everybody will think I'm that. It's usually one person or a group of people. So I want you to you will see in your workbooks, if you turn to the page, I've kind of set this up for you. So this is an example. When I stop going out and get getting wasted every week, my friend Maurice will say, I've changed, right? That's the kind of, we all agree that this is what we're really thinking. Not everybody will think I'm a twat. That one particular friend will say that I've changed. Yeah? So I want you to write that down. I want you to write that down, shine a light on what yours is. So what is it that you're worried about doing, and who are you worried about reacting to it? So maybe alcohol's been a problem for you, and you know it derails you. So you want to just go sober for a little bit. You go, I know that I don't want to say that I'm not drinking because my family at Christmas will tell me I'm miserable. And be as specific as you can. I don't want to post in the group because a particular person is doing really well and they're my friend, and I don't want them to see that I'm not doing as well as them. Like, shine a light on it. Think about the things that that you want to do. Maybe you want to get ready for a photo shoot and you go, I don't want to do that because my friends will take the mick out of me for committing to a photo shoot. It could be anything. You know what that is. Yeah, we all know what we're on with, yeah? So I think there's 5 opportunities for you to write something down here. So who is it? So for me, as an example, when I started putting content out on the internet, on socials, my thing was, I don't want to post content because the rugby team are going to rinse me for it. They're going to tell me I'm a twat. And that stopped me posting for ages. I don't want to post about coaching gay men because gays will tell me that I'm not qualified to do that. Gays will say, who do you think you are? Chris talked about fear being a big thing in his life. If you ask Kieran, my therapist, he'll tell you that who do you think you are has been a big driver in mine. And that's what stopped me. So shine a light on it, all right? Write some stuff down. Something that you want to do. So when I do X, such a person will say whatever they'll say. So when I have boundaries, my partner will say that I've changed. When I get in great shape, my best friend will try to guilt me into, saying that I'm embarrassing them. It could be anything. And I want you to write some down here. We've got time. Have we all done that? Have we all spoke our concerns, our worries, our internal struggles? Have we all said that out loud? How was it? Quite therapeutic, yeah. Quite cathartic to say it. Sounded ridiculous. Yeah. It really does sound ridiculous when, there are imagined things in our head that stop us doing something. John said it about the Michael Jordan thing earlier. Don't worry about shots that you haven't taken yet. It's when people. It's also really disingenuous as well to say what someone will say about something. I say this to people and it's not always the case, but when people say I'm worried about coming out to such a person, I get messages about that a lot of the time. To not give someone the opportunity to react in the what we deem as the correct way is really unfair. To make someone's mind up for them without giving them the opportunity. There is enough success to go around, and that's why we should celebrate it. Abundance mindset and all that jazz. Everyone can do well. Everyone can succeed. Everyone can be happy. It's not a zero-sum game. You improving doesn't take away from your partner, your friends, your family, your colleagues. There is enough success to go around. And that is really, really important. Any takeaways from that?
It wasn't as big deal as you make it out to be.
Okay. Yeah.
It sounds so simple when you actually give it words and say something.
Yeah.
Celebrate. Why wouldn't you want to celebrate?
Yeah. I don't want to post a picture of all the weight I've lost because someone will tell me I've not done well. I have done well though. And then you say it out loud and you go, that's ridiculous. Well, am I going to let what somebody else thinks? Am I going to live a muted version of my life because of what someone else might think? When you say that out loud, it's preposterous. Of course you're not going to do that. All like incredible men in this room. Of course we're not going to do that. Stay small because somebody else might think something. Yeah? Anybody else take anything away from that? I thought it was good when, Sam saying it's therapeutic and someone said about it sounds daft saying it out loud. Yes, Mark?
Well, sometimes you don't realise there is shame attached.
Yeah.
So that's, for me, that's what came out.
Yeah, and it's a really good point. And that's why you always know when there's shame attached if you don't want to say it out loud. Because if you weren't ashamed, you just say it. Like you meet those people who literally don't give a fuck and like smoke inside and then those kind of people, and you go, they literally are shameless. And I did a lot of work with my therapist on this because shame has been a big thing for me, and he said that's what we're aiming for, to be shameless. And even the word shameless, and especially in Britain, to be shameless is a bad thing. To have no shame is a bad thing, and yet we're told constantly to have shame is a bad thing. So which one is it? So we don't want to be that person who's doesn't give a shit about anybody else and is shameless in that sense. But we don't want to mute ourselves because of fear of what other people might think. That's the kind of shameless that we want to strive for. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I guess shameless doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's looking at what that word actually means and not what society has attached to it. Yeah. Everybody good? Everybody happy? All right, cool.